I want to start this video by saying that this channel is dedicated to apartment maintenance, home repairs, maintenance technician training and stuff like that. This is not really a watch channel, but I'm gonna do a video about watches on this channel. Channel is not changing to watches. If you follow me because of the repairs, I'm sorry I'm making this video. This is a hobby of mine that I like. I did a video about a year ago, or no, actually 2 years ago, and I've been asked for more watch videos. And I've got a video today that I'm gonna make about watches. Like I said, this is not a watch channel dedicated to watches, but I will make this video on watches. Now, to start my video, I want to tell everybody that my first experiences with watches are very different than most people. Back in the 80s, my dad was a watchmaker. He's still a watchmaker, but back in the 80s, they used to have jewelry stores. All the good jewelry stores, they had a watchmaker in the back. They had watchmakers benches and jewelers in the back. And my dad was a watchmaker, so I was born in the 70s, but I don't have memories of the 70s, but I have memories of the 80s, sitting behind a jewelry store over at the shop with my dad for days and for hours, looking at watches. He was fixing watches. He had me cleaning parts and finding parts and stuff like that. So my memories of watches are start from there. So what I remember is that, for example, a watch would come in. It always came in just in an envelope and had a number. And my dad would open it up and see what was wrong with it, and then they would give the person an estimate and whatever. But my memories are always my dad would get a watch. This is a Seiko Turtle, for example, and we'd always comment. He'd always tell me, "I think this watch probably belongs to a diver or a mechanic or maybe somebody that works in the kitchen, a cook that uses the timer." We always had a story for a watch, or had a character to that watch. It wasn't necessarily that we knew the person. We started looking at watches, and in my mind, I started building a character to the watch. For example, I'd see a Piaget, or watches that were trending back then, and you would think, well, this probably belongs to a lawyer, or a judge, or a business owner. And you'd look at an Omega, and it's probably a doctor, physician of some kind, and then you look at any watch, and you'd build a character to the watch. So coming from that, every watch I've owned, or I've ever had, or I've bought, I've always built a character to the watch. Of course, the watch is mine, and I'm only one person. I can't possibly be all the characters of every one of these watches. But in my mind, when I buy a watch or when I get a watch, I'm always thinking of the character that this watch brings out in me, or that I imagine it brings out in me. Maybe I'm still the same person, but I'm always thinking of a watch as a character, a personality. I identify somebody with that watch, or a part of me, because I there's parts of me that, of course, I've been a construction my whole life, so there's watches here that would fit that. But at the same time, there's parts of me that sometimes wishes I would have been an accountant, or lawyer, or somebody sophisticated, which I haven't been, but I have been a musician. I've done other things in my life. So I've always had an idea of a watch tied to a personality. So with that in mind, let's start with the watches here. The first thing that I'll tell you guys is I have way too many watches. I'm going to cut down. Most of these watches I'm going to sell. I will just keep a few. I realize that at this point in my life, I'm not a collector. These watches are not really a collection. They're just, basically, I'm hoarding a lot of watches. So I'm going to go over the watches that I have, and I'm going to explain which watches I'm keeping and why, and which watches I'm just going to sell. So I'm going to move all these out of the way because they're just occupying space for now. So now we're going to start today with the, let's call it the vintage watches. So all these vintage watches are, to me, identify as somebody sophisticated. I don't know, maybe an accountant, or a lawyer, or maybe a philosopher, or somebody interesting. So anytime I bought one of these watches, I've always had in my mind somebody like that. Somebody that would, even a minimalist, somebody it's pretty interesting to me to think about who would wear this watch and what occasions I would wear this watch to. I don't really have any fancy clothes, so I don't have a lot of clothes to wear with these watches. So these are the watches that I consider vintage kind of dress watches or sophisticated watches. And they're all beautiful. Like, for example, let's start with this Omega. This is an Omega Geneve. Let's see if it focuses. Too many shiny watches and it's having a hard time focusing. So this is a hand wound. It's a beautiful, beautiful watch, 35 millimeter. I mean, this is a watch that I can see a minimalist or somebody, really interesting wearing this watch. It's just beautiful, not flashy. It's just sophisticated, and I love it. So I have a lot of watches like this Tissot gold plated, beautiful, beautiful watch. I mean, this is just, to me, this is classic, elegant, just beautiful. Bulova Accutron. I don't have a battery for this right now, but it's just another beautiful watch. A Gruen Precision, beautiful. This is a Benris, also a very beautiful watch. It's very minimalist, very sophisticated, I would say, elegant. Can't even. It's so basic it can't even focus on it. Doesn't find any features on it. Edox, just a beautiful little watch. I don't know what I was thinking when I bought this Hamilton. I think this is a quartz Hamilton. I tried giving it to my wife and she didn't like it, and I'll never wear it. It's too small. Then this is a Boreal. I don't know much about this brand, but it looked interesting. I probably got it for really cheap. So all these are a category of watches that I love, that I probably think of a character to these. But there's one watch that I have here in my collection that if I wanted to fit into that character, I would wear this watch. This is a Rolex Datejust. This is a vintage 1958. It's beautiful. I mean, I could put this on a leather band, and this is my vintage watch. There's no, if I was somebody interesting like that, or a minimalist, or somebody that would wear a watch like that, this is probably the watch I would wear. I'd put it on a leather band. It would be elegant. It would be sophisticated. This is all I would need. So none of these watches, to me, and this is all subjective, of course. This is the way I see things. It's somebody may think, I like that watch better and that, but to me, the watch that I would keep is definitely just a Rolex. So all these watches I will be selling because I'm just hoarding watches. They're not really collectible watches per se. I mean, yeah, they may gain some value over time, over the years and stuff like that, but I don't collect watches because of that. So this would be my vintage, interesting, sophisticated dress watch that I would keep. Of course, I would, if I wore it for that occasion, I would put it on a leather strap. So this is a keeper for sure. And all the other ones, if I'm wearing any of the other ones, I'm always going to be thinking about, I should have worn the Datejust. Now, let's get into vintage divers too, because that's another personality. That's somebody that, to me, it's somebody that's been around. They'd rather have a vintage diver's watch. They love them. They're cool. They're classic. I can imagine the guy wearing a vintage diver, somebody that's cool, just naturally cool, and they'll wear a vintage diver and they'll wear it every day and they love it, and that's their one watch. So with that in mind, I do have a few vintage divers watches. I've never dived really. I've been in a swimming pool and that's about it. I've dived in a lake, but I've never had like scuba gear or nothing like that. But still, this is a Doxa Aqualung. It's the U.S. divers. It's a beautiful watch. I mean, this is just a really, really beautiful vintage divers watch. I love it. And I bought this watch thinking I would wear it. And I wore it a little bit. It wasn't me. Even though it's beautiful, it just wasn't me. Then I have this vintage Caravel Devil Diver, the 666 manual wind. It's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful watch. It just seemed like a really small watch, even though it's probably like 38 millimeters. There's something I didn't like about it. I wore it for a little bit. It wasn't the watch that I loved. I mean, I like it. I don't love it, but I do like it. Then let's see what else do we got in vintage divers. Well, the other one is my Seiko Turtle. Now, to me, this is a beautiful watch. If I'm gonna wear a vintage diver's watch, this is gonna be it. Definitely, this is gonna be it. This is the watch that if I'm gonna be diving, well, no, not for diving. If I'm gonna be wearing a vintage diver's watch that's cool, it's gonna be this one for sure. So the other ones I'll sell. I love the cushion case. It just wears really, really nice. I mean, it fits that personality of somebody that would wear a vintage diver's watch. I wear it in a NATO. I don't like the way NATOs get bulky, so I always tuck in the NATO underneath. And I like this look. I mean, there's a little bit bulk right there, but not too bad. So this, to me, this is a perfect vintage diver watch. And this is the one I'm keeping. The other ones, they're nice, but they're not staying. This is the one that I'm keeping. So now I got my vintage diver. I have my vintage dress watch, let's call it. So these divers I'm also going to sell. Now let's look at some, let's call these field everyday watches. And I bought this one a long time ago. This is a Shinola. It's a quartz. It looks nice. I used to like it because it resembled a pocket watch. Sorry about that. My phone's always got a ring when I'm doing a video. So this resembles a pocket watch, and I always liked it. And I like the font. I like the numbers. I didn't love it. I liked it. It's got a screw-on crown. The back's actually nicer than the front in this watch. It's a really nice case back. It's a nice watch. I have the original band to it. I had it for a while. Then I got this watch, Seiko Presage. And oh, this is a beautiful everyday watch. Could be field watch, could be / dress watch. And this was my watch that I wore for a long time. The other one, it just sat there for a long time. I wore this watch anytime I was wearing a casual, semi-dressy watch. Then I got this watch. I found this watch at a pawn shop, and I loved it. And it's a manual wind. It's a Weiss. It's just really nice. It's got a, you can see the movement in the back. And I love the font. I love everything that I loved about this watch. I loved more about this watch when I saw it. I just thought it was a perfect watch, 38 millimeters. It just seemed like a really nice watch until I put it on. I should have done this at the store, or maybe I did, but I didn't realize this. It's a nice size. It's 38 millimeters. It's really a nice size. But there's one flaw to it that I don't know if you guys can see it. There's no curvature to the lugs. So when I'm wearing it, when I wear this watch, it just the lugs just stick out too much. And even though it's only a 38 millimeter watch, it just feels like I'm wearing some kind of a slab on my wrist. It's just uncomfortable to wear a block of metal on my wrist. You see it this way, it just looks like a block of metal. And this just killed it for me. Even though it's a beautiful watch, I couldn't get over that, that slab of metal on my wrist. And I'm sorry to say it, but man, it's such a beautiful watch. But just that one thing, if it wouldn't have been for that one thing, this would have been my watch because of the size. This one's a little bigger. And this is just a perfect size. 38 millimeters just felt, perfect to me. Let's see, what else do I have here? Okay, and then after these watches, after these let's call these everyday, casual watches, I wasn't too convinced on this one because of the color, I think. This one, just the quartz, and then everybody hates it for some reason. And this one because of the lugs. So after a while, I found this watch, which is to me the perfect everyday watch. It's just perfect. It's got a screw-on crown. It's an Omega Railmaster. It's actually also an Aquaterra, and it's all three. It's a Seamaster. It's an Aquaterra. It's a Railmaster. It's just perfect. 39 millimeters. I do have the original bracelet to it, but I like leather bands, like I said before. So to me, this became my watch. This is my everyday watch. This is my casual watch. This is my field watch. This is just perfect. 39 millimeters. I don't have a really thick wrist, but this is just perfect, perfect, perfect. The lugs, they're right. They're short and curved, and it's just perfect. So from the other three watches that I had, I'm gonna end up selling these because there's just I don't want to keep too many watches that I'm not gonna wear. So if I'm gonna go anywhere that's semi-casual dress, something like that, this is gonna be the watch I'm gonna wear. If it's more formal, I put this on a leather band, and that would be my dressier watch. So far these are the three watches that are definitely staying. They cover the basis for the watches that I'm looking at. Now we're gonna go into the divers or sports watches. Let's call them sports watches. So the first one that I got was a SKX. This is not actually the SKX. It's the version they made for the US. It's the same thing. It's everything's the same. This is a great watch. It's just perfect. I just somehow I think it got old on me. I loved it for a long time. I used it. You can see it's got a lot of use. It feels right. It's just I think what happens is just a little bit too tall. I mean it's just a little bit too thick of a watch. And or maybe I just got over the hype. I don't know what it was. It just something happened where I didn't really love it anymore. I wear it once in a while. It's not a watch that I'm wearing something else and I wish, oh man, I wish I should have brought that Seiko. So I had it for a long time, and then I was looking for a sports watch for a while. I found what else do I got here? I found this watch. Doesn't have a bezel, but it's really it's a sports watch. It's a quartz. It's Luminox. The blue just didn't do it for me. I mean, it's nice. It's got a sapphire crystal. It's got some really good lume on it. I think the crown was just, the crown guards and the crown were way too out here, and it just really uncomfortable to wear it all day long. So that got old really fast. Then I went over to, I got this. This is a beautiful Hamilton. That it's the what is it? Pan Euro, Hamilton Pan Euro. And this is a beautiful watch, automatic with a bezel. It's got a cushion case just like the Seiko Turtle. It just it feels real nice when you wear it. I put this band on it because I like leather bands. Well, I put this band and I love it. It's nice. The only thing it's not really a sports watch. I have to check the pull every day at work and stuff like that. And this is not a screw-on crown, so it's got the sports watch look, but it's not something that I would trust if I went camping or it was raining and this is the watch I'm wearing. It's beautiful. It had that flaw that it's not really waterproof. Then I got this watch. For that, it's a quartz, but it's a nice Formula One. I got this watch and I was wearing it for a while, and of course we're all using hand sanitizers all the time now. And look at what happened here. I don't know if you guys can see it. Well, the hand sanitizer right through the rubber, and now it's got these spikes coming out of it next to the crown. So even though I liked it, it was nice. There was two flaws to it. One is that I can put a strap on it. It just doesn't look right because the way the watch is designed. This is a 20 millimeter. So, but mainly it was because this happened. And that just happened because of the hand sanitizer. And that's it. I didn't want to deal with this watch no more. So then I got this watch. I saw it. I saw it at a store. I loved it. I said, man, that's the perfect size. I like the color. This is a good sports watch. But I didn't do my homework. And then when I started wearing it, I realized the bezel doesn't move. So this bezel is just for show. And this doesn't have a screw-on crown either. And even though it's a beautiful watch, it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't really what I wanted. It is a beautiful watch. I like the look. I like the style. I love Seikos, but it wasn't what I needed or what I wanted. So then after that, I got this watch, which is beautiful. I found it at a mall, used, and I bought it, and I love it. And it's the Squally Ceramica GMT, 40 millimeter. I mean, screw-on crown. It's exactly what I wanted. It's just perfect. But I started wearing it. I do have the original Jubilee bracelet to it, and it's a beautiful watch. But I started wearing it, and I realized that it's just a replica of the Rolex Pepsi. What do you call it? It's the Rolex Pepsi GMT. So this looks and feels just like even though I don't have it, but it's the same thing, same dimension as the Rolex GMT. So I was wearing it, and I liked it, but at the same time I felt, man, this is just a replica. And honestly, it got the better of me. It just, in my mind, I just kept on thinking, this is a really nice watch, but it's a replica of something else. Even to the colors, everything, it's just a replica. So I ended up buying this watch. Well, before I tell you which watch I got, I was looking at the Tudor Black Bay 58 with a gilt dial with a red on top. That's a beautiful, beautiful watch. That's a watch that would have done what I wanted these watches to do. I could go camping with it. If it rains, it's okay. If I got it at work, it's durable. It's a good watch. It's just perfect. It's beautiful. It's a Tudor. So a few times I was on my phone just ready to order it. Just ready. I was on eBay and I said, I better wait. The one thing that always held me back is that it's still, even used, it's around $3,500. And that's a watch that I would take camping, or if I ever went off-roading on my Jeep, which I don't, but I should, or whatever activities I'm doing like that as a sports watch, that's the watch that I would wear. But it's still $3,500 used. So I don't know if I'm swimming in a pool and I hit the steps or the ladder or something, and I break it and I flood it with water. It would just hurt too much. That's, to me, to my possibilities, that's too much money to risk for a sports watch. So I ended up buying this watch, and I love it. I really, really love it. This has a gilt dial too. This doesn't have the fake Fotina on it. This is just perfect. It's just beautiful. It's hand wound. You can it's automatic, but you can hand wind it. It's durable. It's about $400. So if it ever breaks, I'll be okay. I'll survive it. My wife won't divorce me over this. Of course, I changed the strap. It comes with a different strap, but I put this carbon strap because if I do go swimming with it, this is the strap I will take, and it just feels perfect. This is not 39 millimeters like the Tudor, but Seiko has the Seiko feeling where even if it's a 42 millimeter, I think, it's still not huge. It's just perfect. To me, this is almost a perfect race watch, sports watch. It's I think it's like under 12 millimeters thick, so it's really thin. The only flaw that I find with this watch, and that's something I could change, is the bezel. I don't really like the compass on it. I mean, I could use it if I had to time something. I know this is 0, 5, I'm sorry, 0, 15, 30, 45. I could figure it out if I had to time something with it. I could work with it. But I could also change the bezel insert. And I can buy an aftermarket insert and just put it on if it's the same color. But it doesn't bug me that much because the watch is just perfect, beautiful. I love it. This is the watch that I'm wearing now every day. It's just perfect. I can take it to work. I can whatever I'm doing, I can do with this watch. So this is the perfect everyday sports watch for me. This is the watch that I ended up staying with. I'm not gonna order the Tudor. It's too much money for me to risk as a sports watch because I'm very active and I'm always outdoors and doing a lot of things. And I don't want to break this watch, but if this one breaks, it's more replaceable or easy to replace for me with my budget than buying a Tudor next year or something like that again. So that's where I'm at with sports watches. Now let's move on to what do I got left. Oh, I gotta mention another sports watch that I bought. I don't know. It happens to everybody. I bought this thing thinking it was a Seiko, because it says Seiko, of course. And I should have known better. This is a replica, that cheap. It does have an older Seiko movement. The movement is a Seiko, but this is not a Seiko. I mean, if you compare it to the Turtle, which is almost the same dimensions, all about the same watch, but you could see the quality. Even though this is from 1983, you can see much more quality than this cheap thing right here. So I bought it. I didn't pay a lot for it, but I'm kind of embarrassed. I'm never gonna sell this thing. I'm gonna throw it away or give the movement to my dad because he's still a watchmaker, and I mean it's an old Seiko movement, so he may use it. Another watch that I forgot to mention here is this Alpina. I bought this Alpina at a pawn shop. It was a good deal when I bought it. Seemed like a really nice deal. The thing is, the crown was broken. And that's my issue with smaller watch companies is I can't buy a crown. Anytime I contact them, they say go to your nearest dealer. And I know once I take it in there, they're going to want to service it and they're going to charge more than the watch is worth. It's an okay watch, but just without the crown, I don't like it. And I couldn't get it. I couldn't find it. The original crown looks much different. Me and my dad put this generic crown, and it is a screw-on crown and all, but it just killed it for me. And Alpina will not sell their crowns. You can't just order a crown. And I understand not everybody's a watchmaker, so that's fine. Another watch I forgot to mention, and this is my work watch. This is my everyday work watch. This is a Solar. It's beautiful. It's a Citizen. It's just perfect. I mean, it's very legible. It's got a chronograph on it. I never use it, but if I ever had time something at work, I can use this thing. It's just perfect. It's beautiful. I have it on a rubber strap, but it looks good on leather, on anything. I've replaced this crystal 3 times now. I already know the size. I have a few over in my dad's shop because, well, I use it to work every day. So I break it. I've broken it a few times, but it's okay because it's not extremely expensive, and this is my work watch. This is staying. This is staying. This is staying, and this is staying so far. Now I have another watch that is staying, and this is my Seiko birth year watch. I just realized I have a lot of Seikos on that are staying, but that's okay. This is for my year and for my month, and this one has something really important to it. My daughter, when she was 10 years old, she took it to school, and she fell and she nicked the crystal right there. And she came home and she told me, "Dad, I fell down, and it's a good thing I didn't hurt, but I didn't get hurt, but I did damage your watch a little bit." And honestly, I'm glad she didn't get hurt. I'm glad it was the watch. And now this watch has more sentimental value. I mean, can you imagine a 10-year-old wearing her dad's old Seiko 5 to school? That's pretty cool. And then the story. So this watch is always going to stay with me. I don't have any watches from when I was a kid or when my dad, when I would sit with my dad in the shop. He gave me hundreds of watches, but watches were not what they are today to us. We could never really afford the really expensive ones, so we just had Timexes and stuff like that. We never really had any fine watches. So I don't have memories of the watches that my dad gave me when I was a kid. I threw them away or gave them away. I don't remember what happened. But this is one watch that I do have sentimental value to. Now, I'm going to go into chronographs now. So I'm keeping these, and there's one watch that I don't know what I'm going to keep. I have 4 chronographs. I don't know which one I'm keeping. Maybe you guys can help me decide. And I'll tell you why I'm not sure. The first one I'm going to show you is this really, really beautiful Porsche design. If it ever focuses. Okay. This is a Porsche design. This is a really beautiful chronograph. I love it. I love the colors. You know, it's just perfect. I love it. The only issue that I have with this watch is that even though I can put a 20 20 millimeter band, it just doesn't look right when I put a band because of the way that the case is. So I have to wear it on a bracelet, which is not bad because I'll tell you the reason. I think the reason I don't like bracelets. Well, I know the reason I don't like bracelets. It's because to me, when I wear a watch with a bracelet, it just seems too flashy. Even this watch, when I wear it, it's a small watch, but it just seems too blingy to me. And this is just personal. I know that most everybody likes bracelets. It just seems to me like it's way too blingy and like saying like this is look at my watch. I do have the original bracelet for this one too, and I just don't wear them because they're not something that I like. But in this case, this one has a bracelet. I can wear this one with a bracelet because it's titanium, so it's not flashy. It's not, you know what? I don't think it's calling attention. It's nice, but I think I'm so used to leather bands by now that I don't wear it that much. I love it. I love it. I just don't wear it that much. This is one chronograph, so I'm not sure which one I'm keeping. Now the other one that I like and that I have is this CMix, and this is also a beautiful chronograph. This also has a Valjoux 7750 in it. It's a big watch, but when you wear it, because the lugs are so small, it's really odd, but I like it because of that. I like the colors. It's green and yellow with red and black, and all those colors are just beautiful. And when I wear it, even though it's a big watch, it doesn't seem like a big watch. It's not wider than my wrist. The lugs are really curved on it. So this is a watch that I love, but I don't really wear it too much because it's just I'm hitting all the doors and everything with it when I wear it. Of course, anything with a Valjoux 7750 in it is going to be big, but I think this one's a little bit more, a lot taller than what you would find on other watches. And then my other watch, I have this Seiko Poke. This is also a chronograph. I'm never going to wear this thing, honestly. It's not my style. I love Seikos, just not this one. So this one I'm selling for sure. And my fourth chronograph that I have is my Tag Heuer Carrera, which is my wife's favorite watch. She always tells me, you better never sell that watch because she loves it. And, you know, it's a beautiful watch. Everybody hates Tag. I have no issue with it because it's got the same movement these other ones have. It's a Valjoux, and it's a great watch. I mean, I could wear it on leather. I have it on rubber right now. There's just something about the colors. It just seems a little bit too dull. I mean, I wear it, and when I'm wearing it, it just seems a little dull. I mean, compared to this colors, there's something missing to me. And this one I feel wears a little bit better. So I'm just not 100% decided on which chronograph I'm keeping. Maybe you guys can help me decide. I mean, maybe you guys have some ideas. I don't know. I have looked into the Omega chronograph. It's nice, but everybody has it, so it's okay. But I don't think that's what I want. Now, this is a really odd watch that I bought one time. I just want to show it to you guys. It's a, I don't know. Let me see. It's got a screw-on crown too, so. It's a Jules Racine World Timer. It's odd. It's cool. Looks nice. I just don't even have a category or personality that fits it. I'll never wear it for sure. You know, I like looking at it, but once it's on my wrist, it's I have no personalities to go with this watch. Nothing in me is even. I can't even think of who would use this watch, but I'm sure it's cool. Somebody that's a hipster is gonna love it. It's a really nice watch. It's a Swiss watch. It's with perfect condition, beautiful, world timer. But I'm gonna sell this too. So I hope that wasn't too boring. I just went over the watches that I have, the watches that I'm keeping, and like I said before, this is not gonna be a watch channel. This is a maintenance channel, but I just wanted to do this video. Well, I hope everybody has a great day.